Hi, I'm Katie, this is Sam, and we're going to take you through a 15-minute core restore today. So come and join us down on the mat. So we're going to start seated on the mat and just carefully and gently lower yourself down, whether that's using your hands or whether you feel able to take part in a little articulation down. So from here, we're just going to start by bringing our awareness to where everything is today. So find the heels of your hands onto your hip bones, fingertips just laying over the abdomen. And this is just so we're aware of where our focus is to start today. Nice full breath in. Nice strong exhale out through the mouth. Full breath in. And exhale out. As you breathe, bring your awareness to what's happening through your midsection. When we breathe in, there should be an expansion in the abdomen. And as you exhale, as the diaphragm lifts and the air expels out, it should feel like there's just that nice little lift through. We get conditioned to trying to breathe in and suck in. But to get the most out of your core workout, we really want to feel like as we breathe in, we allow that expansion, and then we allow almost that feeling of hollowing out. Once you've found that feeling, we're just going to bring ourselves into a little pelvic tilt. Now, if you've done a few of these with me, you'll know that this is one of my favorite things to do. A little check in, and you can do a pelvic tilt almost any way. You can do it standing, you can do it in a side plank, you can do it in a 4-point kneeling, but it just allows us to feel where our body wants to be, finding a little bit of mobility and movement for the lower back, for the back of the pelvis. And maybe you find, oh, actually, maybe I've got a bit more room there than I thought. Or you might find, gosh, I'm a little bit tighter here than I thought. And it's about finding the space along this range of movement where it feels the best. So where do you feel like, you know what, this feels comfortable, this feels good, this feels like I'm ready to activate my abs. No pain in the back, no stress with the hip flexors. And from here, we're just going to take a breath in this position. Place your longest fingers on your hip bones, on the top of your hip bones, and your thumbs just on the bottom of your rib cage. And again, find that breath in, find that expansion through the diaphragm without moving your bones. And exhale. And finding that full breath is one of the quickest ways to help us repair the pelvic floor as well. It creates a piston action with the fascia and with the pelvic floor. So breathing well and allowing that diaphragm to move fully is really an intrinsic part of our repair journey. Good. From here, we're going to take a little interlace of our hands. We're going to let our head rest in our hands. I like to have the thumbs sitting in the gap between my skull and my neck, just so I can be really supported with my head. Now, if you have a prominent diastases, which is what we refer to as an abdominal separation, you might find that this is a little uncomfortable until you generate some more strength. But the more research we do, the more we find that once there's control and what we kind of refer to as a backstop in the abs, it's not about the distance of gap you have, it's about how functional your abdominals are. So taking a breath in, as you breathe out, just bring the elbows into your peripherals. And I want you to feel like this is a real articulation for the back. So keep your head heavy in your hands, curl the head up, curl the neck up, and find maybe this is as far as you go today, that's fine. Maybe you can get the tops of the shoulders and the back lifting. Now have a look at your abdomen here. If when you look at your abdomen, you can see a pyramid-shaped dome, then forward flexion probably isn't the thing for you today, and it's better to concentrate on that lower pelvic floor connection rather than this forward flexion. However, if you're looking and it feels good and it feels stable and there's no pushing out and there's no triangular doming shape, then stay with us as we inhale and re-articulate to the floor. And I want you to feel like this is more of an articulation than it is a sit-up. So full breath in, full breath out. Shoulders are heavy, head, neck, shoulders, upper back. Inhale, reverse that articulation. So trying to find that space through the upper back, through the top of the neck, and back down to the head. We're just going to take 2 more of these. Breathe in, breathe out, find that articulation. And the heavier you keep your head, the more you should find as you sit up, there's a little fire up in that, almost it feels like that lower abdominal section. Of course, all of your abs are working. You can't separate them and make just one abdominal section move, but just trying to find that everything is coming together, and we're finding that connection along the front line of the torso, and allowing yourself to come all the way back down to the floor. Nice. Keep the head nice and heavy, and from here we're just going to place our hands a little wider than our hips, so our shoulders are nice and heavy. Full breath in. As you breathe out, feel like you're wrapping around through your torso. Inhale, exhale. On your next exhalation, try and just float one leg into tabletop. So you have a vertical thigh bone, your knee is over your hip, and there's a right angle behind this knee. So you don't want the shin bone to be floppy. You want to keep it nice and lifted. So there's a right angle behind the knee, and hopefully there's a right angle in front of the hip as well. From here, we're going to inhale and let that thigh bone move away from our center line. So inhale, thigh bone moves away from our rib cage. Exhale, use your breath, and think of using your breath to bring it back in. From here, we're going to add a little bit of something tricky, and without externally rotating, we're going to open that leg out to the side laterally, only as far as we can, staying in the center of our tailbone, and then exhale, bring it back in. So we inhale, toe goes away from the nose, exhale, thigh bone back in. This time, inhale, leg moves out towards the shoulder, and then back into center. So it's a little combination for our brains as well as our bodies. If this is feeling pretty achievable for you and you feel like that's good, see if you can float your fingertips to the sky. As the leg moves away from you, inhale, open the arms out. Exhale, bring it back in together. Same as the leg moves out to the side, take the arms out, stay in the center of the tailbone, and use your exhale to bring yourself back together. Inhale, exhale, same arms, inhale and exhale. It's quite difficult not to start externally rotating the lifted leg as you move it out to the side, so try and think of it staying as parallel as you can. If your brain can take the extra challenge now, as the leg moves away from your nose, take the arms over the head, and as the leg moves to the side, bring your arms to the T shape. And the more that we do challenge the brain, sometimes the easier the exercise becomes because our focus is elsewhere. So we're just going to take 2 more. Inhaling, sliding out. Exhaling, out to the side. Come all the way back to center. Lower the hands, lower the leg, and just give your knees a little windscreen wiper style from side to side. If it's nicer, take the arms to a T shape. If it feels nicer, you can bring the arms into that cactus position. Keep it as dynamic or as small or big range as you need to, but resettle in the center. Bring the hands back down to the side of the hips. Know that you can keep the arms still throughout. You don't have to lift them at any point. And just find that pelvic tilt again. Where do you need to be? Have you maybe dropped away from where that position was? Full breath in. Full breath out. Lift the leg. Find your tabletop. From here, inhale, send the toe away from you towards the floor. Exhale, bring the thigh bone back into the rib cage. And now see if you can take that leg out to the side. Now, it might not be a huge range of movement, which is fine. Or you might find that you go so far that you sort of tip over your hips. Again, that's not a bad thing. Sometimes we need to go a little further than we were to know how to bring it back. Inhaling, sliding the thigh bone away. Exhaling, bringing it back to center. Inhaling, leg out to the side and back to center, trying to keep it parallel throughout. So it's dipping down, it's coming in, and then it's moving to the side and center. As you're moving the leg to the side, be super mindful of your supporting leg, that as this leg moves to the side, it's not trying to counterbalance you into a frog or a butterfly. Inhaling out, exhaling in, inhaling out. If you want the challenge, fingertips lift, and we're just going to start with the T-shaped arms. So keeping the arms the same throughout the movement. I know that I definitely have a side I prefer, and I feel a lot more stable on my other side. So don't be afraid to shorten your range if you need to. To add the full challenge, arms go over the head as the toe pops away from the nose and comes to a T shape as you open that leg out to the side. So really working through those side stabilizers as well. Make sure that you keep breathing throughout. I often cue you in the breath that I find works the best for me. So for me, that's an inhale as my arms and legs move away from one another. So I've got a nice strong exhale to bring me back to center. But it might feel nicer for you to breathe the opposite way, which is absolutely fine. The only thing I want to make sure you're not doing is holding that breath. So make sure that you keep breathing, keep finding the breath. We've got just 2 more. Inhaling, sliding away. Exhaling in, inhaling, sliding away. Exhale in, lower the leg, lower the arms, find your cactus, T-shape or low arms, and we're just going to revisit that little windscreen wiper, just finding a little bit of mobility release, passive massage through the lower back. Wonderful. From here, we're going to roll over onto our sides and we're going to come up. We're going to find a little kneeling position. So kneeling all the way up. From here, I'm going to get you to extend out one leg. Now, depending on your ankle flexibility, this can feel a little bit awkward. So feel free to turn it out if you need to. But in an ideal world, we want this inner thigh parallel to the floor. We're going to lift fingertips up until they're behind the ears. And we're going to take a little movement away from the extended leg. Think of where your breastbone is placed here, and you definitely want that breastbone above or maybe even slightly forward of your pubic bone. As soon as that breastbone comes back, what you'll find is your back does all the work. So staying nice and lifted, nice and centered. We're going to inhale and drop elbow towards the floor. Exhale and draw yourself back up. Keep the spine nice and long, inhaling away. Exhaling to come back to center. Inhale, slide away. Exhale, center. We've got 3 more like this. Inhale, slide away. Exhale, center. If you need the stability, the hand can come towards the floor, but it also depends how much side flexion you have available to you. Last 2. Last 1. Now, as a transition, before we go to the other leg, we're going to bring both of our knees together, facing the side. From here, keep the arms low to start with. This is going to be a squeeze of your glutes, and we want to keep this nice and strong. Small range to start with. If it feels like it loads in your back, this isn't the exercise for you today. Revisit it another time. Lengthen through the arms, lengthen through the crown, squeeze your glutes. As you inhale, start to slide yourself back, keeping a straight line. As you exhale, draw yourself back in. This exercise is actually called a thigh stretch. I don't feel it so much as a stretch, I'll be honest. It definitely feels like it's a workout. Inhaling, sliding back. Exhaling, drawing forward. Can you meet me with 3 more? Last 3. Last 2. And last 1, inhaling back and exhaling all the way up. Brilliant. From here, we're going to switch ourselves around and find the other leg on. Remembering that it depends on how much ankle flexibility you've got here. So if you need to slightly angle out, you can. But I would prefer, as much as you can, try and get that inner thigh level with the floor. Lifting up nice and tall, fingertips behind the ears. Where's your breastbone placed? Make sure it is potentially a little further forward than you think you need to be, but this will also help your balance. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We've got 4 more. Inhaling over. Exhaling back to center. Last 3. Last 2. Doesn't matter if that range is really small, just finding that side flexion. Last one, inhale out, exhale all the way back up. Bring those knees together, sit down. I think you've earned yourself a coffee by now. Thank you so much for joining us today, that quick little 15-minute core. Hopefully you find it's a really nice one for just getting everything working back together, finding movement in all directions and support for the spine. Have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you next time.